OpenAI just launched its agent platform, and they're advertising it as something really amazing, but I played around with it, and I don't think they're telling you the whole story. Because yes, you can build, deploy, and optimize, but if you're used to already creating agents, you might not feel like Agent Builder is actually worth your time. And in this video, you're gonna see why. So you can choose the model, all OpenAI models, of course, vendor lock-in. Let's see what else we can do though. How do I add a new node? How do I disconnect this? To be honest, should be a double click to open that or something. Ugh, oh my gosh. I know I'm just used to n8n, but this is really, how do I move this? Ugh, I don't know, man. I think OpenAI operates largely on hype, not on actually providing the best product. I'm just not impressed. I mean, okay, so now we gotta do the end. What the f? So they advertise these built-in tools: web search, file search, image generation, code interpreter, computer use, connectors, MCP servers. I don't think any of that is super innovative. All the other agents can do that. And then, of course, they also let you include MCPs and add new ones. And it simplifies certain things compared to n8n. But in this video, I'm going to show my perspective as a solopreneur of what we would generally use agents for. I'm going to show you how I use n8n to daily post to Instagram. n8n is very much agentic, even if you're just chaining different agents together. Then I'm going to show you how I use Claude Code to do heavy research and make repositories of information or knowledge bases that I'm going to use for other purposes beyond code, such as marketing, such as strategy. And then I'm going to show you Agent Zero, which excels at personal assistant helper tasks, that has persistent memory, can modify its own files and behavior, and gets stuff done. And perhaps more importantly, is free and open source. You just plug in your own API keys, whether that's local with Ollama, private with Venice AI, or Anthropic, OpenAI, any of the other stuff. You're completely free to use this agent framework however you want. So there are pros and cons to all of these agents, including Agent Builder. And in this video, I'm going to go through it all from a solopreneur perspective. So first, let's talk about OpenAI and their whole ecosystem and why it's something to be concerned about. There's something called vendor lock-in, which in my perspective is kind of where OpenAI is headed. They were the first company to come out there with AIs, and even though I think Anthropic is way better, unless you're like a developer or a total nerd like me, you don't even know about Anthropic. Most people have no idea. They just use ChatGPT. So OpenAI seems to be heading in that direction. And so just like these images all show, when you don't know of any other options, you're eventually going to feel like it's not worth the effort to learn other technologies, to learn other tools, so you can accomplish more better things cheaper. So the first vibe I get when I use OpenAI's Agent Builder is that it wants to keep you inside its ecosystem. You're only getting those models, which are fine. Maybe they're great models. But there's no modularity or flexibility to any of this. Whereas if I'm using n8n, which is a very similar interface, I can add all kinds of functionality, different nodes, different AIs, different actions, connect to all these different services without needing to connect to their without needing to understand their APIs, because the nodes have it all set up. You can make more complex workflows. And when I look at Agent Builder, I just think, okay, well, first off, why would I use this when I could use n8n? And it makes me think, okay, well, I'm a solopreneur. I think this is built for more corporation enterprise. You can put these guardrails on, so you can make sure jailbreak can't happen. That's probably kind of cool. Hallucination, keep that to a minimum. Continue on error. So like for more corporate use cases, okay, maybe this is cool. But there's one big problem that these visual workflow interfaces share, n8n and OpenAI, and that is a lack of an AI agent to help you on the screen. Now, there might be a community plugin for this for n8n. n8n is kind of open source. You can install community nodes. OpenAI ain't going to let you anywhere close to that. But if I need to debug this workflow as a non-developer, non-coder, I need to download the JSON file and run it through Claude or Claude Code and say, hey, help me fix my n8n workflow. Use the n8n MCP to connect directly to my workflow. And that's perfect, right? Because with the MCP, it can control my workflow and make changes to it. There is no such thing for Agent Builder, not that I'm aware of. You can let me know in the comments if I'm hallucinating. But this is what you get. And I worked on making something here. And look, I don't see a place where I can import any code. So I wouldn't even be able to use Claude or ChatGPT to say, hey, make me an agent builder workflow that does blank. No, you have to go in here to each thing visually, manually. And it's so weird because in the age of AI, the interface is the quickest thing to disappear. We no longer really need complex interfaces for many things. We just need a chat interface. Help me build an n8n workflow that posts to Instagram every day. Claude can build that for me. I can import it in here, and then I can go back and forth with the n8n MCP or not to fix it up, make sure it works. Agent Builder ain't going to let you do that. Can't do that in Agent Builder. So there's another reason I don't see the point of Agent Builder. Now I want to talk about one of the other shortcomings of these visual interfaces. When you do use Claude to help you work on these interfaces, such as n8n, because you can't do it with Agent Builder, but when you use it for n8n, then a lot of times Claude makes stuff up, or it hallucinates certain node points that aren't connected. It does a good job, but it doesn't know this software perfectly. It still requires that I have a basic understanding of how n8n works. So as you can see here, I made this workflow as a demo. We have a trigger. Every day at 9 a.m., it's going to launch this workflow. It's going to talk to the AI agent content generator, respond with JSON data with an image prompt and a caption. Okay? And then we got all the instructions for how this should work, what the images should look like, 80s synthwave retro futuristic aesthetic, blah, blah, blah. And this is what was posted today. So this maritime aesthetic, it's taking a little too far. I want to change up the feed a little bit, so I'm working on that. But it is posting every day. It is making a caption. It is rotating through the hashtags I suggested and I wanted. And boom, we have an everyday Instagram poster. Pretty neat, right? That AI agent I'm using Venice Large, but I could connect it to Anthropic instead by just clicking that trash icon and then putting it there. Boom. I can use that now, Anthropic, or I can use OpenAI, or I can use Grok, whatever. Now, what else is the agent going to need? It's going to need a knowledge base. So I make my knowledge bases with Claude Code inside of an IDE. This is Visual Studio Code. It is an integrated development environment. And this is a place where you would generally make code. But in my case, there's not a lot of code going on. It's mainly just knowledge synthesis with all these different files. Claude Code has access to everything that's in these folders, and together we create a brand identity. We create a automated Twitter poster, which I'll show you in a second. We create the new curriculum for the school. We create a new strategy for moving forward. We have a library of call to actions for the content. We have transition phrases for emails. We go deep, deep, deep into the brand. And I'm able to do this because of the IDE. In this environment, we have all this document stuff. Now, my point is, this is why I use Claude Code for this kind of thing. I'll use it to vibe code tools too, which we'll talk about in a second, but really Claude Code is great for working with a bunch of files in the same place, which generally a code repository is that. n8n is not a code repository, it's just a workflow. But in this case, unless I choose to make a somewhat complicated vector store embeddings database for my AI agent, I'm more or less stuck with just using a Google Doc as a tool for the AI agent to use. We go to this Google Doc, we have the mission and purpose of the company, the brand overview, the voice and personality, the target audience, etc., etc. So every time this AI agent is triggered, it will call the Google Docs tool, which is over here. Look at all these tools that your AI agent can use. And the Apify tool for scraping, I love that one. Airtable for updating, reading, writing data. Asana, Base Row, Google everything. Look at all this, right? Built in. Telegram. So it's going to call this tool, get all the information, and then include it in what it creates. Then it's going to parse it, put it in the right format. Then it's going to call Venice AI. It uses the OpenAI API. That's why there's that logo, but it's connecting with Venice API keys with the Venice AI base URL, converts it to JPEG, uploads it to Cloudinary, so there's somewhere to host it, gets everything ready for Instagram publishing, make sure it's accurate, and then publishes it, and then it emails me going, yo, AI Captains just posted a new tweet. So now that you have an idea of that, this started as a template in the n8n community, and it evolved pretty hardcore. And I'm not a developer. I used Claude Code to help me work on this, on the things I couldn't figure out. Now let's compare that to Agent Builder here. Yes, there's MCP. Whoops. So let's see. I go to MCP here. I add one. Okay, cool. You got the Gmails, Google, Dropbox, Zapier, Stripe, Cloudflare, PayPal. Okay, cool. Okay, but I can add a manual one. That's points for Agent Builder, right? That's points. I could add the Apify scraper, for example. And that is what I do here. I'm going to show you later how I built this. And we do have Apify as a tool here. But notice how all these other agents and nodes that we saw in n8n, they're not here. So a lot of points for n8n here for, I just want to say, ease of use and flexibility. I mean, I'm obviously biased because I'm super comfortable with it, but I'm just going to keep repeating this. Unless you're a big company, I can't see why this is going to be useful. I just can't see it. So let's keep going. So let's keep going with Claude Code. And what I want to show you here is what I use it for. And I actually did this yesterday because I was making this video and the video didn't save. But I can just prompt Claude Code here in plan mode, of course. This is kind of like the start of every project I do. Search the web and use Apify MCP actors to find out what people are saying on X and LinkedIn about OpenAI's new agent builder. Now, I would just say that about whatever the project is or whatever my business idea is. Compare it to n8n, Claude Code, and Agent Zero for solopreneurs. Synthesize findings into a markdown document. Spend no more than $2, $3 on Apify MCP and make sure to research the best subreddits to scrape first. So this prompt, look how many things it is. Okay, search the web and scrape X and scrape LinkedIn about OpenAI's new agent builder. And then compare it to n8n, Claude Code, and Agent Zero. Then synthesize findings into a markdown document. Oh, and also research the best subreddit. So that's 6 things, okay? That's 6 things it's going to do in sequence, in parallel, right? Kind of like this, except there's more than 6 things here, more or less. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, there's only like 4 things really here. Same thing with this, right? You're putting it all together in a visual interface. But with Claude Code, I can do it with a conversation. And my belief is that everything is just heading into conversation anyway. So conversation-driven development is one of the most important things you can learn to do as we enter into this age of AI and humanity in the world. Learn to communicate, learn to get granular with your details, and be able to speak the same language as your AI collaborator so you can achieve almost anything, especially with these MCP tools now and sub-agents. So now Claude Code has made me a plan before it executed, which Apify scraper it's going to use, how much it's going to cost approximately, execution steps, scrape Twitter, LinkedIn, Reddit, then synthesize the data, boom, and then it's going to make a markdown file. Yes, I accept. Okay, see how much easier that was for me to do than this. I literally had to do all these manually. I had to copy all these sub-agents. You know, let's say, okay, so I messed up. Here's one thing that Claude Code is a little frustrating with. Make sure to use the best sub-agents for these tasks. That you have to remind Claude Code. Now, I could theoretically make a claude.md file with that rule. Always use the best sub-agents. Always use the best tools available to you. And then save that. And then when you start Claude Code, it's supposed to read that as the rules, but it never does. It never actually reads it, or rarely, or it's less than 50% of the time. It actually does what it's supposed to do and reads ClaudeMD. So you have to remind it in there, which is a little frustrating, which is also why we're going to talk about Agent Zero and persistent memory soon. But for now, Claude Code allows us to just have conversations. And I believe this is the most bang for your buck, which is why the conversation-driven development course is completely free in your 7-day trial of the AI Captain School. You like how I slid that CTA in there? Honestly, this is the most important thing you can learn. I want it to be free. I also want you to check out the community. I think it's a great place if you're a solopreneur ready to harness AI to maximize your skills, capabilities, build a business, whether it's your first business or you just need to take it to the next level. The AI Captain School is here to help you do that with AI. Check it out. Link in the bio. So Claude Code is conversationally epic. And you can do enough with it. There's plenty of YouTube videos on how to use Claude Code better. and I really recommend it. The last thing I love Claude Code for is vibe coding. Here I have Captain Jack's content. This is my Twitter poster, automatic. I did not use n8n for Twitter. So instead I used Claude Code to vibe code an automated photo and tweet poster that, is kind of fun. I wouldn't call it an agent just yet. I have to train it to start commenting and all that, but it is an automatic poster. But the Claude Code agent built that for me. And it was a lot faster to build than this. So, food for thought when you're building agents. Once again, the purpose of this video is to introduce you to all these different options and explain why the vendor lock-in of OpenAI isn't worth it, and you will be a more sovereign, autonomous individual in this world if you learn to use as many tools as you can, but especially the open-ended ones, which leads us to Agent Zero. Agent Zero is super open source. It's on GitHub. There's a big community. It's a cool project, and it's a cool project because it can change itself. So let me show you what I use Agent Zero for and why the open sourceness of it is important. First off, I'm running this all locally in a Docker container. Okay, this is all local on my computer at localhost 55,000. And if I were running Ollama, for example, I could literally have an AI agent on my computer without the internet. Intelligence at my fingertips without the internet. Put that in your pipe and smoke it for a second. Agent Zero lets me add MCPs. I have the same MCP servers here as I do in Claude Code. You can also use Agent Zero as an MCP server. So you could feed it in to, for example, one of your agents. Give it an MCP tool to use Agent Zero, right? But why do we want to use Agent Zero? Agent Zero is awesome because it's meant to be your personal assistant that learns and improves itself. So, for example, yesterday, I was strategizing for emails, and I had come up with like 40 headlines for emails. And so Agent Zero, I can access its files, and in here you can see that there's a knowledge folder with all the AI Captain's documents. Blog style, email style, brand architecture positioning, brand voice messaging playbook, community strategy framework, okay? I did all this somewhere or another. I think I may have even done it with Agent Zero. And then I say save these documents to the AI Captain's knowledge base. And I said, and every time I mention AI Captains, make sure you open this knowledge base. With Agent Zero, it literally has it in its files. So for example, I could say, show me your behavior. Okay, so this is its main behavior. Top level autonomous AI agent running in a Kali Linux environment. It responds in JSON with thoughts, a headline for its actions, tool name, tool arguments. It can use various tools. It also has MCP configuration. As you can see right here, I have a bunch of the same MCPs I use with Claude Code. You can also choose your own models for different tasks. You can use OpenAI or Grok or Anthropic or DeepSeek, or I'm using Venice AI. And for different purposes, you can choose different models, which is very helpful as well, especially for saving tokens. So this is a bit about Agent Zero itself, but I'll say share with me what's in your behavior MD file. There we go. So look, favorite Linux commands for simple tasks over Python. That I didn't put that in there, but AI Captain's context I did put in there. When AI Captains is mentioned, check knowledge AI Captain's folder first. AI Captain's content, follow the writing style and knowledge AI Captain's email style for all AI Captain's content. Email subjects, use templates from here. Email checklist, check here. Tweet templates. Use the tweet templates for tweets. General guidelines, blah, blah, blah. So this is really handy, and I'll show you why. I have all these email headlines that I want to start exploring and writing about. We have all the brand writing and style data. So now all I have to say in a new chat, write a draft for an AI Captain's email and email it to me at jordan@aicaptains.ai. Yeah, that's it. And I'm not saying you can't do this with Claude Code or anything else, but I've just noticed Agent Zero makes the memory stuff a lot easier because it works pretty much 100% of the time. If it's in its behavioral files, it will do the thing. And in Claude Code, you can use these behavioral files, the Claude MD file, and it won't do the thing. And you can have all these sub-agents and it won't use them. You have to tell it to use them. So that's just points docked from Claude Code because it really is a shortcoming of it. Not to mention, Agent Zero is autonomous and open source. I think that gets a lot of points because this is free. Like, I'm running this locally on my computer in a Docker container. So there we go. Here's our draft. What vibe coding taught me about newsletter creation. There we go. Time is money. It's even got a CTA for the AI Captain School, which, by the way, is where you can learn a lot of this stuff that I'm talking about in the video. I'm noticing I didn't get an email, and I'm realizing because I never mentioned the MCP. So I'm going to have to add a note there too. Did you email it? Use Mailgun MCP. And then I'll show you how we modify its behavior so it will automatically use the Mailgun MCP every time. There we go. You see it's using the tool. What's also interesting is Agent Zero thinks on its own. I have thinking off. And Agent Zero still thinks on its own. So you see I'm using Qwen 3 235B, disable thinking true. So Agent Zero still is able to make these models think just with its system prompts, which once again is also very interesting about this stuff. Boom. Got the email. There it is. And then here I could read it. I'll probably fix it. I'll copy and paste it all. And then I'll bring that into ConvertKit and I'll send it off, right? So that's cool. And now I'll say, every time I say email to me, make sure you use Mailgun MCP. Add this to your behavioral rules. And now watch what it does. Using tool behavior adjustment. There it goes. So there we go. When the user said, oh, well, it was a little too literal about this. I'll say, whenever you use the phrase email something to me, I will automatically use the Mailgun MCP. Great. Now I'll say, I also want you to send me one AI Captain's email draft per day. Watch what it'll do now. So it's using tool, the scheduler, to create a scheduled task. It's putting in the cron job time, showing the task. Boom. It's now set up a recurring task to email me a draft every day. So check this out. Tasks. I click that. Information. This was just made. You're an AI content creator specializing in AI Captain's brand content. Generate original email drafts following the AI Captain's email style guide. Exactly. Create an original AI Captain's email draft following the guidelines here. Include personal greetings and use these subject templates. There we go. So now I have this task, which will just email me every day, assuming I have this running in Docker. Let's see, what time did it say it's going to be? 10 a.m. So I just got to remember to start the Docker container by 10 a.m. That's my biggest setback with Agent Zero. I haven't figured out how to just get it running at startup. I haven't really tried either. So Agent Zero has what's called persistent memory. It puts the memory, the rules, everything I talk about, it puts it in its own files. And so it checks those out. It knows to just check those out in these conversations and it'll just always follow it. I haven't experienced a time where it doesn't follow it, except when like my language wasn't clear enough. Sometimes the open source models are far more literal than OpenAI or Anthropic or Grok models, where they're like, they kind of understand your slang. But I think that's mostly to do with learning how to do conversation-driven development, which is the ultimate skill you can learn going forward. Learn how to make things happen by communicating clearly to AI. Prompt engineering, if you will, but for normal people. And conversation-driven development is actually completely free for 7 days in your trial of the AI Captain's School. For now, there is a trial. It's got over 25 video lessons, and you'll learn how to basically start vibe coding, but more importantly, you're learning what it means to use AI as a partner in your work, as a collaborator. So there's a link below. You can check that out. There's a lot more going on there too. It's a vibrant community. So now this is my email stuff. This is how I do it. It also knows everything about my brand. And so without having to open up a new folder, like in Claude Code. Oh, we should check this. It's done. But in Claude Code, VS Code, for example, I'll have to open up a new window, find my AI Captain's brand project, open up Claude Code, run Claude Code. Okay, help me generate an email, send it to me via Mailgun. Then it's going to have to write the code. Actually, it has MCP, so it would be able to do that. And then it would just like have to scan through all that. I'd have to tell it to scan through all that. And there's just so many steps. With Agent Zero, I can just open it up and I can just start saying, let's generate an email marketing strategy for AI captains. And I mean, I think it already has it in its knowledge base, so that's kind of a simple thing to do. But the point is, it's going to call the tools, retrieving AI captain's context, Cool. Notice how I didn't have to say that. Retrieve the context. I would have to say it to Claude Code. In my experience, with or without a Claude MD file. I'm very aware of the Claude MD file. It never seems to frickin' work. Great. So yeah, I even got the sample emails and the writing structure. It's using the sequential thinking MCP to put its steps in order. It's finalizing the market strategy. Now, this could be a pro or a con. I think it's a pro if you have good context, a good knowledge base, good documents in there. Because the persistent memory, it just does everything for you. But you, once again, conversation-driven development. You have to have good prompting. But it's also kind of a con because it never really asks you for feedback. Like, I'll be very strict about like, hey, give me feedback first. And Claude Code is guilty of this too. If you don't say, hey, before you build, and you even have to be in plan mode in Claude Code, before you build, ask me questions you need to get more clear on what this is. Let's make sure we do this right. And these agents are just so quick to want to just work that they won't ask any questions. But that could be a positive if you have the right like knowledge base context going on, which Agent Zero gets points for because I don't have to remind it every time. I say that over and over, but it's the biggest deal. I recommend focusing on 3 primary campaign themes. It's got the content calendar, daily emails at 10 a.m. That's from the tasks. And I'm going to make a new video on Agent Zero soon because they actually just updated. Here's another con, actually. Upgrading is a little bit complicated if you're not a tech savvy person because in your Docker container, you want to make sure you save a lot of these files. So I need to save all these behavioral files, the context files. I need to make sure I have those before I update because you actually just start over basically. So that is why I don't have the newest version where there's actually more capabilities with the persistent memory. And that's going to be really cool to explore. And I'm going to do that in a dedicated video soon. So there we go. So now let's start transitioning into what this agent kit is all about. So we left off in Claude Code earlier about to do some research. This is Claude Code as an agent, as I like to use it, not just a coding agent, but an agent that can just do lots of things with all the sub-agents. So it's scraping, it's searching the web, and it's making a whole research report for us. It's generating them right now, the agents, the research analysts, and actually it doesn't even look like it used sub-agents here, which is just luck of the draw with Claude Code. And I'm about to prompt it to turn it into an HTML file, a beautiful presentation that we can look at on the browser because I feel like it closes a feedback loop to see something that we built it. When you do the research, like fine, but then you're like looking at the research, like when you're looking at the research like a markdown file, it's just not as exciting. But when you're able to actually see a beautiful presentation, it feels like you did something, like you've been productive. It's a dopamine hit. It's a win. Boom. Claude Code deployed the content writer and the front-end developer, and now it's opening up that presentation in the browser. So here we go. Claude Code made this for me based on the research I asked it to do. Okay? So here's we go. We got speed champion, so maybe it's really fast. Vendor lock-in. Yes. OpenAI only support with no multi-model support. And as I discussed earlier, with all these other open source models, there's a lot else missing. It's not just the model. Like, you don't have control of anything. Solopreneur ROI. Oh, high value market research and content creation. Okay. This could be good for that. Not production ready yet. Okay. That's also good to know. So it's telling me how much it spent. Overall sentiment is highly positive with vendor lock-in concerns. So I assume that means people are concerned about the vendor lock-in. Apparently that's a big deal on the web right now. Tool comparison. OpenAI agent builder. This is what we're here for. Pay per use. So you speed things up. Beautiful ChatKit UI. We'll have to take a look at what that looks like. Visual interface, built-in safety. Cons, vendor lock-in, beta stability, OpenAI only, uncertain pricing. n8n, pros, multi-model support, open source, production ready, steeper learning curve. Not sure if I agree with that one. Basic chat UI, slower prototyping, more setup time. Claude Code. Cons, Claude only. Code focus, not for automation, requires subscription. Agent Zero. Cons, high learning curve. Yeah. Technical expertise, maybe. DIY approach. I don't know why that's a con. No official support. Yeah, that is a good point too. So we even got a little testimonial section, what people are saying. Cost analysis of how much this research cost. And, Claude Code tends to take it maybe too far sometimes. But that's okay. I like what this looks like. I mean, I like the information it's giving me. I would probably do more research, but this gives me a good starting point, right? So if you need to build and iterate quickly, showing proof of concepts to clients or stakeholders, OpenAI Agent Builder. So I want to check out this ChatKit UI because that could be a really good selling point, right? You can use this pre-built interface for the agents to impress clients. It does look kind of expensive though. If you need production grade reliability, use n8n. Code generation and development, use Claude Code. Complete control and customization, use Agent Zero. Hybrid strategy, multi-tool approach. And this is my conclusion too. I think ultimately we always need to learn as much as we can the different ways these technologies can be used. Do whatever you want. Use OpenAI if you like it. Use Claude if you like it. Use multiple tools. I've shown you in this video 3 different tools I use in my everyday stack. I don't think I'll add Agent Builder. I might. So speaking of Agent Builder, let's jump in. Let's take a look at what it would look like to do the same research with OpenAI Agent Builder. What you've all been waiting for. Let's create an agent. Got templates here, customer service, internal knowledge assistant, data enrichment. Let's use that. So let's see what Agent Builder would do. Let's try to make that happen. Simple workflow to research a set of companies. To research n8n versus Agent Zero versus Claude Code versus Agent Builder. All right. Find company information using web. All right. So this is its own little agent, this node. Web research agent. Call the model with your instructions and tools. Following company I can use in marketing asset based on the underlying topic. So you can choose the model. All OpenAI models, of course, vendor lock-in, reasoning effort. Okay. I do like that option because sometimes you don't need like crazy reasoning, but you do want a little bit. Okay. Let's add an MCP server. So what do we want? What is it? Can I not search? I can't search. I can't search I can't even. Oh, here we go. All right. So let's add Apify. All right, MCP servers. It's not the Apify one. It's actually the actors one. So let's see here. We copy the URL, pop that in there. So web research. Okay. Find company information using web. So we'll say your helpful assistant about the following companies. Let's say companies I can use in researching the best agent frameworks to learn to adapt into the AI future. Company info marketing batch. Okay. So this looks like we can output the data. This is a lot like structured output, JSON output parser in n8n. So we want the data from our AI agent to be structured like this. So the next node can read it easier, or our app that we're connected to, the like vibe coded app or whatever. So this is what that is, output format. I don't really care right now because I just want to try this out, but yeah, we want the sources, continue on there, right to conversation history, verbosity, reasoning effort. All right. So that will just research the companies in a nice display using the output format described. Okay, fine. Let's see what else we can do though. How do I add a new node? Oh, add an agent. Okay. And I will take that agent and I'll say competition analysis. And here's what I'll do here. I'll go into Claude Code. I'll shortcut to the agents so we can see all the agents here. I've got a lot of agents here and it's actually impacting my performance. But let's go down to front-end developer. Where do we want? I can just open this in my IDE and I can get all the prompts here. So let's find analysis, maybe code review, code analyzer. Let's find competitive analysis. All right. So let's copy all this. Let's paste that there. In fact, for the web research, let's do that too. Data researcher. Let's copy all that. Let's paste that there. Senior data researcher with expertise. Okay, great. So the web research agent will do the research. And then what? What do we want after that? Let's do this. Knowledge synthesis, research analyst. Let's do that. So let's do this. Research analyst. So one thing I'll say right now is adding in these agents kind of sucks to do it manually. I like being able to generate everything I need and just drag it in. Claude generated all this for me when I gave it my requirements and then I dragged it in. This, I gotta be like, okay, here's all the things. Minimal reasoning, like all these settings, I could just have an AI do it, right? So I was under the impression at the beginning that like there would be a chat window here to help me do it as I go. but apparently not. Research analysis, let's give it medium. I don't know, JSON, fine, whatever. And I'm not going to give it a schema, so let's see what it does. And then we'll connect that to the competitive analysis. All right, so the research analyst will then send, let's do this in JSON too. And then the competitive analysis, we'll do that. Let's give it medium. I don't even know. I have never really used these models. Fine, output format, JSON again. And then finally, good Lord, that's annoying. Let's add another agent and let's do the knowledge synthesizer, which we'll take from here. Paste that there. Text. We'll output that as text. Fine. I'm going to say I really don't like this interface. It's really messing me up here. Should be a double click to open that or something. Ugh. Okay, so then I want to give what tools? This has Apify. We also should give it like web search. Research analyst, yeah, I guess that's it, right? The only tools are need to be there. Okay, then we use notes to add a note. Oh my gosh. I know I'm just used to n8n, but this is really, how do I move this? What the fuck? Delete? No? Ugh, OpenAI products, right? Okay, so there should be some human in the loop somewhere, right? So I can see how this could be valuable for enterprise or for people that don't know any better. I don't know, man. I think OpenAI operates largely on hype, not on actually providing the best products. I hate to say that, and I know they innovated in the beginning. Guardrails. This might be something. Redacts personally identifiable information. That's cool. Jailbreak. Detects prompt injection and jailbreak attempts. Hallucination. That could be a pretty cool feature. I don't know. I'm just not impressed. I mean, okay, so now we got to do the end. What the fuck? All right, so can we play it? Oh no, we have to publish it. Research. All right. Just curious what the input is, you know? I'm not allowed to run the preview. Deploy. It's already deployed. How do I use it? Okay, here's the researcher. I get it. I have to verify my organization to preview it. This thing is already deployed. Code for ChatKit. Oh. All right, so let's follow this quick start. So this is what ChatKit embeds for the agent. So ChatKit is what creates the interface for you or the user to use this, to use the workflow. That makes sense. Create an agent workflow. Set up ChatKit in your product. ChatKit session and create a backend endpoint. All right, so I'm going to turn this offline while I do this. And then we'll close everything off by comparing Claude Code's research to Agent Builder's research. So case in point why I love Claude Code, follow the directions here at the OpenAI docs to set up a basic chat kit for my agent with Agent Builder. And then I'll even give it the workflow ID here. And we'll say, this is my workflow ID. Use context 7 MCP to get all important documentation for building this. The last thing that might be tricky is the current domain. So, I mean, is that localhost? Nope. All right, so we'll figure that out next. But this is why I love Claude Code. So it's now going to get the library for ChatKit. It's going to fetch that page exactly. Maybe not. There we go. Now it's going to build it. So, you know, I guess you can do this with Codex or Gemini, CLI. I don't know. Those are all the same. Claude Code is first. Anthropic models are my favorite anyway. So I just use Claude Code at the end of the day. Great. Do it. We'll hope for the best on this one. We're in YOLO mode. All right. We'll check back in on that and we'll get this going. Okay, everyone. So this has been dragging on. I've just been trying to vibe code this agent builder service chat kit, deploying through Netlify automatically with Claude Code, fixing something, thinking we're fixing something, and then refreshing this. And we're in an approved domain according to my allow list here, and it's not showing up. Okay, so here we got some more errors. But I think it's actually because... And I want to find this out. Otherwise, I could say a big fuck you to this agent builder thing because honestly, this agent builder interface is clunky. It's not intuitive compared to n8n. Maybe I'm biased because I use n8n all the time. It's too much effort to put all these together. Can I copy and paste JSON into here? Maybe. So if you can do that, okay, cool. We should be able to create these in JSON. There should be a freaking AI agent to help us do this here. That would be kind of cool. So maybe this is a good use case for a certain type of demographic, but if you're a solopreneur, I don't think this is worth using at all. I think it's way better to learn n8n. It's way better to get competent at Claude Code so you can vibe code, and having Agent Zero as a personal assistant for these tasks that you might just not enjoy doing, getting the knowledge base in there as a personal assistant, say, hey, just do this. We have to do this thing. I think all of those are better skills to develop than figuring out freaking ChatKit and Agent Builder. So let's see. I tried it again. Once again, Claude Code can hallucinate. They can all hallucinate and think they're finding solutions that aren't really there. So here we go again. It's not loading, and I'm not surprised. Here we go again, right? This 404 is just a fave icon, but it just goes on and on. And it's getting deployed here, no problem. We paste that in here now. Okay, back and forth. This is no longer worth my time to make this video. So that is what Agent Builder gets. Maybe I'm just not a verified organization, so that's why it doesn't work. In which case, I also wouldn't recommend OpenAI platform because it's complete vendor lock-in on all fronts. You have to give them your freaking ID. You have to give them everything about you so you can use their freaking AI Agent Builder ChatKit. That's not even very good compared to these open source solutions that are really good and intuitive and have big communities behind them. Okay, that's my conclusion here. All right. I hope you enjoyed the video. Press subscribe if you like this kind of thing. Let's talk about AI agents and getting more open source and autonomous. Let's become AI captains together. See you in the next video.